Hi, it's Ashley Latter here today, speaking to you today from my training centre today on the latest Lunch and Learn. And today I want to share with you one of my favourite ever leadership stories. And the reason why I'm sharing this story is I'm actually putting together a leadership programme that I'm actually delivering to some dentists in Australia actually in a couple of weeks' time. And as I was putting the slides together, I remember this story. And the story happened about 28 years ago when I first started working for a training organisation called the Dale Carnegie Training Institute. This is a worldwide global company. Dale Carnegie, as you may have known, wrote the very famous book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I've been working for Carnegie for about a year now, and we went to San Diego for our annual conference. And this took place in the first week of December. This was my first ever time to the trip to America, so I was really excited. In fact, the excitement levels was as high as you can imagine. And on the ultimate night of the conference was a banquet. We got invited to like a pre-banquet drinks with the directors of Dale Carnegie. So there's about 100 people here, so I felt really honoured, and if the truth be known, I was actually really scared about going to this because this is going way outside my comfort zone. I remember going up in a lift to the top floor of this penthouse, the lift opened, and in there was some really, all the directors, all the most important people within the Dale Carnegie organisation. Of course, there was Mrs. Dorothy Carnegie, Dale Carnegie's wife. Now, she was in her late 70s and she was still the president of the Dale Carnegie Institute. I remember getting a beer with my colleague and we went out on the balcony away from all these important people, and we stood there overlooking the Keys in San Diego, admiring the weather and thinking to ourselves how fortunate we were to be here. A few minutes later, Mrs. Dorothy Carnegie came out and joined us on the balcony, and she started asking questions about me and about my colleague Andy, what we did, where did we work, what was our roles. She became genuinely interested, and she made us feel really special. In fact, she must have spent at least 10 minutes with us outside in the balcony talking to us. And I was amazed because this drinks banquet, before the banquet, was only going to be for about an hour, and she spent at least 10 minutes with us. She made us feel so special. I remember that moment as if it was like it happened yesterday. A year later, we was at the Dale Carnegie conference, and I was in Dallas, and I was coming out of the conference again with my colleague Andy. And as we were walking down this corridor, walking towards us was Mrs. Dorothy Carnegie. Don't forget, she was in her late 70s, and she was with like a little entourage around her. And as she's getting closer towards me and Andy, I'm thinking to myself, do I go over and introduce myself? Do I say, do you remember me from last year? Or should I just turn away and walk away? Because I wasn't quite sure if she would remember me. And as we got a bit closer, I always remember this if it happened like it happened yesterday. She came over to me. She said, "Hi Ashley, great to see you again. I hope you're enjoying the conference." And she congratulated me on my award. I was winning an award for my sales performance, and I was collecting that on stage the next day. And she congratulated me for doing this. And then she walked away. But what really impressed me was, out of 2,000 people in this conference, a lady in her late 70s remembered me from a year ago. And that was really made me feel really special. And I've relayed this story many times in my courses, but what it really shows me is the power of really building that rapport and connecting with people. And I know we sometimes, as dentists, we build rapport with our patients, and we try and build rapport with our team. But the question is, do we really build that rapport where it's really deep, where we're genuinely interested and we connect with the patient? And if they walk back in 6 months later, we remember them and we can bring something back in the conversation. So that's my favourite leadership story, my favourite story on how to really connect and build rapport with people. But one of the true lessons I did take away was that Dorothy Carnegie, even in the late 70s, just lift their book of How to Win Friends and Influence People. If you've never read that book, I really strongly advise you to do that. So make the day where you really connect with people, become really genuinely interested, and build that rapport either with your colleagues at work or with your new clients.